The vibes were just horrific last year, so hopefully it just doesn't feel like terrible every day.
True.
Anyway, well, we can get into it. If we just talk about other stuff, then so be it anyway. Yeah, Gjark and Craig are here, so let's do it. Okay. As you know, I don't know how to start the podcast. It'll either be whatever we keep from that or something along the lines of welcome to Late to the Movies. My name is Ben Holt, and this is a podcast where my friends and I get to fill in our movie blind spots. Each week, we'll pick a film that either I or a guest hadn't seen before and really should have seen Dead People by now. This week, starting a new theme month. This one less abstract than last month. It's just 1999. We're going to party like it's 1999, so we're going to podcast like it's 1999. All the movies we're talking about this month came out in 1999. And as heavily implied by my intro just now, we're starting with M. Night Shyamalan's The Sixth Sense. Here to talk us through it, Anthony's back. How's it going?
Ben, I see dead people.
Yeah, that's the one. I figured it'd be that, but I mean, it's so classic, iconic that whatever, we could both do it.
That's fine.
Oh, man. So how's it going, Anthony? Have you seen anything good recently?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you have, but I still have to ask.
Yeah, I feel like it's been so long since my last podcast. I can't even remember all the stuff, all the movies that I've seen. But I will say, I saw Wolverine, Deadpool and Wolverine in theaters. I thought it was excellent. I thought it was one of the best Marvel movies I've seen in a very long time.
Okay.
The my one small gripe with it is that there's too much violence. Like you can only rip a guy's skull out of his head like so many times. At some point, it gets a little old, and like all this, the regeneration, and they stab each other in the leg like 1,000 times. Like I feel like a lot of those scenes were repetitive. I had enough of that.
Yeah,
but the plot is really good, and the Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman were excellent in it.
I like Hugh Jackman. I haven't seen a Hugh Jackman movie in some time. So yeah, that I haven't seen it yet, but that's like, it seems like it's at least more appealing to me than the last, I don't know, 5 years of Marvel. So
yeah, they did a good job. Very good.
Cool.
Ryan Reynolds is a genius. I also saw a really good movie that I saw, Thelma.
You saw Thelma. Okay. I've heard a lot. I know it was playing at some of the smaller theaters around here for a while and apparently did pretty well.
Really good plot. What's her name? June
Squibb, I think.
June Squibb. Yeah. She's 93. And the main person that happened to is also 93, but she's phenomenal for a 93 in the movie. It's so funny. And it's just a really well done film. I thought it was awesome.
Great. Yeah, that's another one I haven't seen yet, but have heard good things about.
Highly recommend. Very, very good film. It's not like it's kind of sad what happens to her, but I mean, she doesn't die. I mean, no spoilers, but she obviously is still alive. Just the way, but it's kind of like, oh man, this could happen to my grandma or even my parents. You know what I mean? Like, so that's why. But still, a very, very funny movie.
So you tell me if I'm wrong. What I've heard is it's about an elderly person that gets taken advantage of and scammed, and then to prove that she can sort of still fend for herself or operate by herself, she makes it her mission to go like find the people that scammed her and get her money back, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. She only got scammed by a person like literally. She's in LA, so it's like somebody else in LA that she mailed $10,000 to. So it wasn't like a. It wasn't like a credit card scam from Cyprus, you know?
I think you texted me. You saw Jaws somewhere on a big screen, right?
Yeah, when we were on a little vacation in New Hampshire, the golf course there had they were showing a movie on the 9th hole, and it just happened to be Jaws. And that was one of the best experiences of my life. And like the water hazard on the 9th hole, they had a little inflatable shark.
That's fantastic.
And you know what? Though watching Jaws, I realized I don't think I remember the whole beginning of the movie. I only remember like the scenes when they're already on the boat in the ocean. But the whole beginning, the beach, the mare.
Fully half of the movie is before that, pretty much.
Exactly.
Yep.
And I was like, I don't think I ever seen this. So it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's like over an hour, I think, of the movie before they actually get out on the Orca. So
And
good stuff.
just watching the whole movie though from start to finish, you forget how good Robert Shaw is. Um, he's just so good in that film that man, it was awesome. It was only like 20 people just sitting on the ninth hole of the golf course. They had like
That sounds
they were handing out
amazing.
free popcorn, drinks. Oh, it was a great time. That was the highlight of that whole vacation.
Yeah, I love Jaws. You normally watch it every summer. I haven't yet this year. My since I moved, I've been separated for most of my 4Ks, and that one is back in Fall
Yeah.
River, so I haven't gone back this summer. But it's so good, and I love
You
that
gotta get
first
those.
half.
You gotta get the moving boxes. Pack them in. Get them up there.
Yeah, exactly. It's good. It gets into all the political, like almost satire stuff with the mayor and keeping the beaches open for the economy and all the small town stuff, and a lot of humor in that first half too, and a lot of the maybe not the biggest scares or you're going to need a bigger boat lines, but like I mean, that kid gets super murdered by that shark. It's pretty brutal.
Yeah, but it's almost like a comedy in the beginning.
Yeah, it's pretty madcap. The
Like
energy really is high.
the scenes of just like the blood. Uh, you don't see it. They never show the shark really, and you don't see anybody actually get eaten. But then there's like this like a pool of blood just forms in the ocean and floats towards the shoreline. I don't. It's actually kind of funny until you get on the boat, and then it gets a little scary.
Yeah, once you actually see that guy,
Yeah.
Bruce.
But the line, I think you need a bigger boat was ad libbed.
Yep.
I
Yep.
never knew that. I looked that up the other day.
Yeah, it's Roy Scheider just being an absolute legend. Underrated actor. He's great.
I couldn't agree more. It's so good. But that wasn't even the highlight so far of this summer.
Okay.
Yeah, I know I don't think I've been on the podcast since this happened, but the highlight of the summer was back in June. I took a trip to P Town, Mass, and on the way, it's like because it's like a 2 hour drive from us. So on the way, we were going by the Wellfleet Drive-In, and they were showing Twister at the drive-in. So we had to stop and watch. It was like 8 p.m. And that was
Yeah, you
what an
gotta.
experience. You can't see Twister on the big screen at a drive-in movie theater and say, I'm gonna pass this up.
God, I don't think I've seen Twister since it was like in theaters, to be
Awesome.
honest. So it's
Awesome.
been a minute, and
That
I
film
don't
is
remember
awesome.
it. I was super young, so that's yeah. I haven't seen Twisters plural yet either, but I like Glenn Powell, and I mispronounced his name. Glenn Powell is in the new one, but I mean Paxton. Yeah,
Bill Paxton, Helen Hunt, Philip Seymour Hoffman. No, what's his name?
yeah, it's Phil Cy Hoffman, I think.
Yeah, it is.
It
Yeah.
is.
I was thinking of the other guy. Never mind. Yeah, he's awesome in it. Uh, Man, what a film! I haven't seen Twisted yet either, but they're already pulling it from theaters. They're sending it right to It's going to be streaming it, but not even by the end of this month.
Yeah, that's how it goes now. I wanted to catch it while it was still at IMAX, but it was only there for I don't know a week until Deadpool and Wolverine. So
I read this article on Screen Rant that in order for it to make money, it has to make $390 million worldwide.
ooh,
And
it's
right
not
now,
bad.
it's like it's not even at. When I read it at the time, it was only at like 245.
Yeah, that's probably too much. I don't know. That's one of those weird things. The director made the film Minari, a awesome small scale film about the immigrant experience in America in the 80s by a Korean family that immigrates to Texas or somewhere in the South. And it's just about assimilating into American culture, and it's a family drama. And then they're like, now you get to make the sequel to Twisters. So I don't know. Hollywood's weird, man.
Yeah, I don't. They just there was so much promise for that. That's a film you have to see in theaters, and I think I'll probably be able to
Right.
see it before it leaves completely. But man, I think they just blew it with like Deadpool and Wolverine. I guess just sucked all the money out of people's wallets for the summer movie going season.
Yeah. Superhero movies tend to do that.
What a shame though, because I bet you Twisters is not. I don't think it's as good as the first one, but I mean, Glenn Powell's a hot new thing, and I bet you it's a fantastic in
Yeah.
theater movie. You know what I mean?
I think I'd have a good time, you know?
Right.
It's just hard. hard to get these things. Well, so you have such limited time to do that. Brutal.
I was also that made me think of one last thing on that topic though, like the overall summer blockbusters. I was thinking, so I was listening to you. I know you're not a fan, but I got to give credit to where credit's due. Billy Simmons in the rewatchables, dude. 1996, right? Look at what comes out. This is the year Twister came out. So May 10th, you have Twister. May 21st, Mission Impossible. Then you have June 7th, The Rock. June 14th, Cable Guy. June 21st, Eraser. June 28th, Nutty Professor. July 2nd, Independence Day. July 12th, Courage Under Fire. July 17th, Kazam. That's not even a good movie, but remember the hype around that Shaq in a movie? Oh my God. Dude, this is like July 26th, Kingpin. Like, I mean, this is like a chock full summer of just hit after hit after hit after hit. August 16th, Tin Cup. Like, come on. You'll never see that again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's I mean that's maybe the peak, but just the 90s summer blockbusters is really its own thing.
I wish I could go back to that time.
It's just good stuff.
Yeah.
Good a kind of good to maybe segue to 1999 discussion, but
that was my whole point.
Yeah. Another great year for a weird year for blockbusters. We're going to talk about a relatively small movie that was the second highest grossing film of the year. After The Phantom Menace, it was The Sixth Sense. Before we do, though, I should say one thing I saw that I watched for the first time since the last time we recorded, or the last time I recorded anything, was related to last month, a film that has a lot of a horror film that has a lot of weird and not super well loved sequels, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I watched the original for the first time, hadn't seen it before. Real good. I liked it a lot.
The one from the 70s?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Good shit.
Is it like as scary as, I've never seen it, right? But is it as scary as they make it out to be?
It's weird. For a lot of people, it's the scariest movie ever, but because of this podcast, really, we've been seeking out a lot of the weirdest and strangest and spookiest whatever movies. So movies only really scare me when it's like, that could happen to me. Like the original Halloween, when it's just a guy who decides without much reason that these people are the people he's going to kill. Less like Halloween 3, where it's like a weird Irish guy decides to steal Stonehenge and make kids' heads turn into bugs. Like, that's not going to happen to me. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is somewhere in between. Right. It was sensationalized in the moment as based on a true story, just for marketing, effective. But kind of this sort of thing. It's like it's great. It's encapsulating a lot of just like, yeah, the government's lying about everything. It's the 70s. This kind of thing probably happened, so we're going to lie to you too and say it actually did happen. It's just capturing not so much to me something super scary, but something that 50 years later, literally, it's 1974, holds up to such a extent that it's just like really disturbing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, more
Isn't
so than
there's a whole lot of controversy around that film. Is it because it was made so cheaply that I don't know, people really got hurt on it or something like that? I forgot what I read about it.
Probably. I don't know. There's just people walking around in the dark through like dense forests and like pitch blackness. So I'm sure a lot of people got hurt. But the actual film was banned most countries for a long time.
Yeah.
So yeah. But it's a lot of leaving stuff up to your imagination, which can be worse, I guess, sometimes.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, and it's the story that it's loosely based on, I guess, is probably more scary than the actual film.
Yeah. Okay. So nice. a different kind of horror. A few decades later, 1999. You had a great segue offer before, but I had to get that thinking about Texas Chainsaw. So
that's all right.
The year's 1999. I'm 8. This movie comes out. I can't see it, but even as someone who did not see the movie for a while, and then when I eventually saw it, I think it was on TV, pretty much immediately, I know at least I see dead people as a quote, as a thing that is immediately part of culture, parodied, referenced everywhere on kids shows, on MTV, on like, you know, at late night talk. Like it's just everywhere immediately. So weird that this movie became the second highest grossing film of the year in the 90s. There was like actual blockbusters happening, but damn. That's why you pay the big bucks to get Bruce Willis in your movie. You'd think.
Exactly.
You'd think. But this was actually, he was cast in this to make up for how much money the studio lost on his boxing movie that came out before this.
Yeah. Something Brawler, right?
Yeah.
Bronze Baller.
Broadway Baller.
Broadway Baller. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. And thank God they did. I mean, he's awesome with this. This movie rocks.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've all to say, I have seen this before. Have you?
No, I've never seen it, but I do remember the line. I remember Haley Joel Osment, and I remember all the hype around this. So I would have been like 12 at this time, maybe 8th grade. I think I was in 8th grade.
That's prime sneaking into R-rated movies territory. How come you didn't see it till now?
100%. I know I should have at the time, but I just remember all the hype around M. Night Shyamalan, this film, because he's young when he did this. He's only 24.
Yeah.
I think when he wrote it. And he directed it too, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So I just remember all the hype, and I remember just everybody, like all of us in middle school and maybe even freshman year of high school, just like saying "I see dead people" to everybody that we meet in the real world.
Yep. As we're recording this, it's almost exactly its 25th anniversary. It came out August 6th, 1999.
Yep.
And another thing I wish I could have said in the things I've seen recently segment, I wanted to see the new M. Night Shyamalan movie before recording this, Trap, but I haven't been able to yet. It looks fun. It got weird reviews, but I've liked a lot of his more recent movies that actually got worse reviews. So I'm sure I will like Trap when I see it.
Oh, it's isn't that his daughter too? The Watchers.
Yeah, The Watchers is also, it's his daughter's feature film debut, I think. This came out in the last couple months also.
Yep.
So yeah, we got Shyamalan everywhere these days.
Crazy.
Do you want to give us a 1-minute plot summary?
Absolutely.
Go for it.
In an alternate universe, John McLean, aka Malcolm, is a child psychologist who may or may not be good at his job. One night, a strung-out Donnie Wahlberg broke into Malcolm's home and shot him in front of his wife, Anna, for failing to treat him. I guess Donnie didn't think Malcolm had the right stuff. A year later, Malcolm begins helping a young boy named Cole, who has the same symptoms as Vincent. Malcolm tries to work with Cole, but struggles until Cole drops a bombshell. He sees dead people. Malcolm realizes Cole's issues and that he's telling the truth after listening to a playback of a tape with Donnie/Vincent, hearing a man ask for help while Vincent was alone. Malcolm and Cole go on to help ghosts haunting Cole, providing relief to Cole and to the ghosts themselves. Cole gives Malcolm one piece of advice: to talk to his wife Anna while she is sleeping so she can hear him better. To his surprise, Malcolm realizes that he's been dead all along and that Cole's mission was to help him move on into the afterlife and bring closure to Anna. The film ends with Hans Gruber smiling in the distance.
So did you know the twist?
Yeah.
Yeah. You'd have to, right? That Bruce Willis is dead the whole time. I feel like at this point.
It's so obvious that I bet you in 1999 it wasn't obvious, but today it's obvious.
There's even a moment. It's the Bruce Willis reaction shot to Haley Joel Osment saying "I see dead people" is like a slow zoom in on Bruce Willis's face. That I guess the filmmakers were like, "Is this too obvious?" But ultimately wasn't, because the twist still worked on the general public.
Yeah, if seeing that movie, if I only watched the trailer, right, and it's 1999, then going into theaters, I would have been blown away. But 25 years later, it's kind of hard to be like, especially been in the pop culture for so long. It was hard to be surprised.
And there's good hints throughout. He's wearing only the clothes he wore on the night he got shot throughout the whole movie. And I think there's some stuff that if you really want to like split hairs, you're like, what are the rules here? Because it seems like you can move stuff around, but I guess it establishes that ghosts can move stuff around. So whatever.
Well, watching this movie, one thing for me was he tries to go into the basement, but the door's locked and he can't get in there. Right. But there are other scenes later on in the movie that show him in the basement. So how do you get in there?
Just kind of goes through walls, maybe.
Yeah, he just walked through it. And then he forgot that he walked through the wall.
Yeah, I think it's probably like a blacking out situation. He's sort of like a transient thing. And
right.
Yeah. The door's locked, but it's not actually locked. It's just blocked, but he doesn't see that there's a desk in front of it now or something.
Yeah, exactly. That happens.
They just see what they want to see.
Yep.
It's good. I mean, my takeaway rewatching it for the first time in a while is just, I remember Haley Joel Osment and Toni Collette get Academy Award nominations, and a lot of the conversation around it is like, wow, this is one of the best child acting performances ever. But the performances in this movie are just so damn good. The acting is a ridiculous level. It's just crazy. And Haley Joel Osment as a kid is just killing it in this. It's ridiculous.
Nails it. I think M. Night Shyamalan said he didn't want to cast him because he was like too, but then he said he just nailed the naivety and.
Yeah, he was picturing like a darker, moodier, and probably a little more emo kid, but Haley Joel Osment just works so well.
A pretty good character spot in Misha Barton.
Yeah, young Misha Barton is the sick girl thrown up in the tent. And I think this is the first time that I wrap my brain around that's Donnie Wahlberg in his skivvies in the bathroom that shoots Bruce Willis.
Before the steroids.
Yeah, he's weighs like under 100 pounds in this movie. Like, damn.
I saw the credits. I'm like,
Donnie Wahlberg, but I don't know. Yeah, I know. You're going into it like, what is happening?
I'm like, I don't remember that ever. But then I see, I'm like, that's Donnie Wahlberg? No way. And you see him on Blue Bloods. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that is kind of Donnie Wahlberg.
Yeah. He's apparently he says he really like just didn't eat food for a while leading up to this role to be that gaunt. But damn, he's skinny in this movie.
Yeah.
Another returning person from an episode we've done before, Bruce Willis's wife is played by Olivia Williams, who is in Rushmore. I forgot. She's the object of Max's affection in Rushmore, the teacher that he inappropriately attracted to.
Yep.
That's her.
Oh, wow.
This is the year after Rushmore for her.
Yep.
Good couple of years. This is also the year when M. Night Shyamalan goes this, then the next year is Unbreakable, and then Signs is 2002. Yeah.
So let me ask you this question. M. Night Shyamalan, he makes these are superhero movies, just not the superheroes we think of like not Marvel style, but these are all superheroes in a different type of way.
This sounds like a great thesis statement for an essay or the beginning of a TED Talk, and I'm here for it. I think a lot of his stuff is about exceptional underdog types.
Yeah.
And whatever Mel Gibson is in Signs.
In he hasn't made a good movie since The Sixth Sense. Signs is okay, but a lot of misses in M. Night Shyamalan's repertoire.
I would pretty strongly disagree, but I know I'm not exactly in the majority. I like a lot of his movies. He's made some bad ones. I'm not saying that isn't true, but I think he has he has sort of a valley. His last decade of movies is pretty good. It's pretty good. I think most people would take it.
I mean, like Lady. The reason why I ask about the superhero thing is because Lady in the Water is like a direct. The guy's trying to be Paul Giamatti. He's trying to be. He's like really writing superhero or like fantasy novels. That's why you have to save the woman from the beast that's in the water or whatever it is.
Yeah. There's a lot of. I see what you're saying. That makes sense. It's also weird. Like this movie's so good, and then I don't know. His dialogue is usually really terrible, but like in a stylized way that I appreciate. That it's like, well, it's his own thing, so it's not just bad dialogue. It's like of a piece with what he's doing. But I don't feel like the dialogue's bad in this one. It's just kind of good, I think. I don't know.
I think I agree with you. I think the dialogue is perfect. It's sort of it hits. It's very clean. It's very straightforward. There's not a lot of like lost words and a lot of the characters. There's just a lot of meaning behind what they say. Right? It's very intentional.
Yeah, most of the dialogue is really disturbed child and a child psychologist talking to that disturbed child. So I guess like you're allowing some non-natural dialogue maybe to just sort of pass by that I didn't even flag. But
right.
I don't have an example of it because nothing really stood out to me like it does in most of his movies. So I don't know.
I mean, and he did write probably the most quotable line in the last 25 years of I See Dead People. So you got to give him credit for that.
Yes. Yeah. So I remember at the time, and most of the time since, thinking anytime you see something red, a ghost is about to pop up. But it's not like specifically true. It's often true. But I think it's like reading more about it. It's kind of anytime you see red, it's denoting something like exceptionally emotional or like the energy's about to change or something. It's not always ghosts. Sometimes it's just like something happening. I don't know. It's cool though. It really stands out and it's a cool thing.
Yeah. At the end, because when they're at the wake, first of all, there's a lot of like plot points I want to bring up too. But when they're at the wake, the mother, she's wearing a red blazer.
Yeah.
Like the mother's obviously not a ghost, but
and she's like arranging roses or something or red flowers.
Exactly.
Or something.
She's actively trying to kill her kids. So
yeah.
But who lets their 8-year-old son just go to a wake across town randomly? The mother's not there. He went with an imaginary Bruce Willis. And no one at that wake says, why is there an 8-year-old kid here without any parental supervision?
So it's the late 90s. It's a kid who's living in a city with a single working mother. And you just figure this is just like, it's hard to remember before cell phones and danger, but I feel like I'd get out of school and just hang out places for a while, even in the suburbs. So for city kids.
How many wakes do you hang out at?
Very few. It's weird that no one questions this child who walks in by himself from what all they can see.
Right.
But I guess they're busy. I don't know. It is funny to think back on a lot of times that, man, that's just an unaccompanied minor really just walking around Philadelphia for a lot of the movie.
In Philly, right. In Philly too. Not like, Philly's a tough city. I don't know if you want to be walking around by yourself in Philly at 8 years old, but.
Yeah. He's having a good time. Just hanging out at the church with his playing with action figures.
But true, right. He's also in church by himself. But I guess if you're watching this for the first time in '99 and you don't know Bruce Willis is dead, then you think he's at the wake with an adult.
There was towards the end of the movie, when Cole's in the play and it's all good. It's into my head. I was like, I think Malcolm at this point suspects he might be dead because otherwise that's a wild way to take in a child's, school performance because he's just standing in the aisle.
Yeah, he just standing up in the middle of the aisle.
He's not related to any of these kids. It's just an adult
in a
trench coat at a not that well attended play that's happening seemingly in the middle of a workday.
Right. Yeah. When he should be, analyzing some children.
I think that's one thing the movie does do well is that there's a sort of not solid connection to time. How many days has it been in between their visits? How long has it been since he got shot? How long has it been since he's talked to his wife? That is sort of like sandpapery on your brain when you're watching it. But once you're like, oh, he's dead. It's like, oh yeah, he probably doesn't have any sense of time anymore.
Yeah, right.
He probably doesn't know.
Right. Right. Because ghosts don't know what they don't know.
And just like sometimes he's in the basement, sometimes he can't get in the basement. It's just like, and he doesn't really think about it too hard because if he did, he'd realize he was dead.
Well, he says that to Anna at when he goes to meet her in the restaurant, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Well, I know I've been distant," and he's like, "I just can't wrap my head around. I just lost track of time, or I can't wrap my head around time at the moment." Or so, he says something along those lines,
Yeah.
and that's one of the, to me that's one of the first clues of like something's not right here.
Yep. I like when it feels like a little almost too cute from Shyamalan, but it's not that he's way past that at this point in his career, so I won't hold it against him here back in the 90s. But when the main criticism from Haley Joel Osment of the bedtime story is that you got to throw some twists in there. Needs a twist. Every good story needs a twist.
Yeah, a little on the nose.
All right.
Yeah.
Funny at the time, but 25 years of twists later, like, okay, we get it.
Right.
So, there are any other specific plot points you want to get into? So for me, the big takeaways are like on performances, but having not actually watched it before, I'm curious if there was anything that surprised you, anything about pacing or tone that wasn't really what you were expecting. It's ostensibly a horror movie, but kind of not.
No, I don't.
You're punctuated with some really terrifying things.
This to me, this wasn't a horror movie at all. It's a thriller movie for sure,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't say I was like scared.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a little bit of suspense, but not because I think I tried to watch this earnestly, and you're trying to figure out what are the ghosts there for, and I'm trying to not remember that I know that Bruce Willis is already dead. But watching other M. Night Shyamalan movies, I do think this one was the best. I think the pacing is perfect. I think that like we already talked about, the dialogue is great, and I think the movie really flows. It doesn't feel like it's a long movie. I don't feel like there's a lot of parts that are drawn out, and I think it's a very succinct plot that is very watchable and very rewatchable.
Especially compared to his other movies, this feels like the experience of watching it feels a lot more classic.
Yes, yeah.
Like classic Hollywood pacing and structure. Even with the twist, it just feels more like that than a lot of his other stuff that tries to. He gets accused of just like only caring about the twist. Everything's just a setup for the twist, and he doesn't care about the rest of it. But I think the structure of this whole movie is solid.
Now, do you think that when Cole finally tells Malcolm that he sees dead people, he can't tell his mom, right? He refuses to tell his mom. He feels uncomfortable because he's afraid of what she's going to think about him being a little kid, which is like very profound in itself. A message, the message behind that. You know what I mean? That was like pretty deep. But at the same time, do you think the twist comes too early?
That he sees dead people?
Yeah.
It would be hard not to do it by then, because I don't think you even see him encountering ghosts more than the birthday party scene where he gets put in the cupboard with the guy that's yelling about horses. Did that happen? That happens before, because that's what sends him to the hospital. But I think that's the only time before that you actually are hearing what he's hearing, and you're still not even seeing anything. So I just feel like I don't know where the movie would go if it doesn't have him say that at that point. But I'm curious what you think.
No, and I agree with you. I think it's like right at the right point. The twist, I do think it could have come out a little bit later, because then we have so much time to figure out that Bruce Willis is actually dead.
Yeah. And I think it's a testament to it that I still enjoy the movie knowing that. So it's not just about the twist. I can still get a lot of enjoyment out of the movie with that, which we maybe can't say for all of his movies.
Yeah, no, I think the plot still flows after that. But I think if there was a way to have that twist come a little bit later, and then the shock on Bruce Willis of like a more definitive realization of like, oh shit, I'm one of the ghosts talking to this little kid, would have just made the movie a little bit better for me.
Yeah. One thing that I was trying to pick up on this time that I hadn't really considered too much before is, does Cole know that Bruce Willis is dead, and at what point?
Right. Yeah, no, that's a great question. I thought about this before too. Cole knows Bruce Willis is dead right off the bat.
You think?
100%. He tells him, he says, "I'm going to see you tomorrow, ain't I?" Or I'm going to see you tomorrow, right? Right in the beginning. He already knows he's going to see him the next day because Cole knows that Bruce Willis is there for a reason.
I'm trying to remember how he reacts when Bruce Willis is telling him that he's going to transfer him. And I think he says, like, you can't, or something like that.
He tells him he can't. He says, "You're the only one that can help me."
Yeah. I think he definitely knows, at least before the end, when he tells him, try to talk to your wife when she's sleeping. Because then she'll, like, be able to hear you, essentially.
Well, yeah, because right before that, he says, "I'm not going to see you tomorrow."
Right.
That's when he tells him, like, "I'm not going to see you tomorrow," because he solved
he did the unfinished business.
Exactly. Bruce Willis helps him figure out his mission, and then Cole realizes, oh, so if my mission is to help ghosts move on, Bruce Willis is a ghost. He has to move on with his wife.
Yeah.
Here's how you do it. But I think that Cole, we never see this, but I think he sees the gunshot wound in the blood behind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He sees it.
Yeah, he says ghosts see what they want to see, but he doesn't get a choice. He just sees them. So you're probably right that he is seeing him covered in blood the whole time.
Because even when we see
maybe not when he has his overcoat on, but at least when he's down to the blue, just like button up shirt, he sees the blood for sure.
He definitely sees the blood, so he knows he's dead and he's a ghost. Because even when you see the woman who's helping him be King Arthur in the play, right? And half her face is missing, half her body's missing because she's burned alive.
Yeah,
we only see the nice part. In Bruce Willis, I mean, they only show us the nice part because we have the vision of the ghost, right? Because we only see what they want to see. Then when he turns around and they show us what he's looking at, that's like the selling point for me.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, this time I definitely picked more up on like, oh, I wonder what is Cole trying to massage. For some reason, it seems like he thinks it's important that Bruce Willis figures it out himself that he's dead. And I don't think it's just because he thinks he might stop helping him. But yeah, I don't know. Not in like a selfish way or in a withholding way, but it just seems like he's like, this guy's got to figure it out himself.
Well, yeah,
to accept it, I guess.
Yeah, that's sort of the point. Well, I think Cole's hesitant. He's like, I think he's saying to himself this whole film, why do I have this power? I don't want to do this. I don't want to have to help ghosts figure out their problems and move on to the afterlife. But I think Bruce Willis, his mission is to help him figure out that this is his mission in life.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, and then he's like, you're not going to tell anyone my secret, are you? And it's like, is he maybe just like being a little kid and he's not entirely sure, but he's at the very least pretty sure for, I think, a lot of the movie that Bruce Willis is dead. Like, again,
he's 8 years old.
You can see the blood, right?
Right. Yeah. He's 8. Yeah.
Anyway, good kid performance from Haley Joel Osment. It's good in AI also.
Yeah, I've never seen AI. I really only remember. I purposely didn't look up what he looks like now because to me, he's always an 8-year-old kid for the rest of his life.
He's still got a sort of cherubic kind of round face, but he's an adult with a beard now.
Yeah, which is so bizarre because he's actually younger than me.
He had a guest role in Silicon Valley. If you watch that TV show,
no, I can't say that I've watched it.
Yeah, it was good. A lot of the actors in it subsequently got canceled, so it's hard to recommend. But not all of them did, and it's not their fault, I guess. I don't know. Hard.
Right.
So Toni Collette and Haley Joel Osment get Oscar nominations. Bruce Willis does not, but I think he's awesome in this. He's really good, and his sort of manner with Haley Joel Osment, like they have pretty amazing chemistry. I don't know. It's weird.
I think the whole cast the chemistry between all of them is excellent. But who are the other nominees? Who snuffs out Bruce Willis?
That's the kind of thing that I could have anticipated needing to know.
You can edit it.
Let's see. Held in March of 2000. This was the American Beauty year.
overrated movie.
Yeah. All in all, Sixth Sense gets 6 Oscar noms, doesn't win any of them, but 6 for ostensibly a horror, really more a thriller. But with ghosts. So, I mean, American Beauty wins pretty much everything. The actors that get in: Kevin Spacey in American Beauty, who wins. Russell Crowe in The Insider, Richard Farnsworth in The Straight Story, Sean Penn in Sweet and Lowdown, which I don't know, and Denzel Washington in The Hurricane, which sure.
Oh wow, yeah. All right, that's fine, but I mean, Bruce Willis could have got a nod. Yeah,
pretty good year. I mean, that's the reason we're doing it right this month for 1999. As I'm looking more at this, I'm coming to the realization that I'll probably have to do American Beauty. It really won a lot of Oscars this year.
I know, but that movie is so overrated and terrible.
I don't want to talk about Kevin Spacey, but right. Man, it won itself some Oscars. So, woof. Anyway,
but to your point though, look, that is another great year for movies. Like I feel like, man, we gotta find a way to get Hollywood back on track.
I know. This is the All About My Mother year from Almodovar, also for foreign language film, now international film. Good shit.
What do you think about the backdrop of Philadelphia for The Sixth Sense? Good city to pick.
Works for me. I think grounded horror like this, thriller, whatever, can work a lot better when it's just in a real, tangible feeling place. It's a little weird that this small child has the run of this church, apparently, but it all mostly feels real. That's like why The Exorcist works, is it's as the guy, William Friedkin put it, this is a real house, a real village in this city, and there's a real little girl up there who just happens to be possessed by a demon. Yeah, it feeling like a real place. That's like, that's just like a school.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's like it's a real, and I think Philly's a good backdrop for as a sort of nitty gritty city.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I feel like it really works for the film.
And Shyamalan's a big Philly guy. A lot of his stuff set in Philly or around it.
Yep.
Just remembering, did you see Knock at the Cabin? Knock at the Cabin, I think is what it's called.
So as I was, shitting all over M. Night Shyamalan, I do remember that film. So to me, the best M. Night Shyamalan films: Sixth Sense, Knock at the Cabin, Signs. Those are the 3. The rest of them, I could do without.
Yeah. I want to rewatch The Village because I haven't seen it since like pretty much right around then. And that one was one that felt a lot like once you know the twists, and then the twist that comes after that twist, you're sort of like, okay. But I rewatched Signs pretty recently. I think around when Knock at the Cabin came out, because I wanted to go back and do some Shyamalan. Signs is really good. It sucks because, again, it's another movie. It's like, well, if we ever did it, we'd have to talk a lot about Mel Gibson. But that movie is so weird, but really interesting in the ways that it's weird. And then pretty effective when it gets into the scares. So I had a good time with it, rewatching it recently.
Despite being like, I think Signs it's aliens, right? So obviously it's a little bit too unbelievable. But it still, I think it still works, and I think Joaquin Phoenix carries the whole film.
Yeah, that's the reason why we do it, is like because we actually are going to talk about Joaquin Phoenix. He's amazing in that, and he has probably the best. I don't know if it's the best, but among the best reactions to a thing happening in a horror movie when he's like jumps out of his chair when he's watching that video of the birthday party.
Right.
Yeah, that's classic stuff.
I've never seen. It is a real weird movie, but I've never seen The Last Airbender, After Earth, The Visit, The Happening. I've never seen The Village, but I honestly, I'm not. Those don't really interest me until Knock at the Cabin.
Last Airbender and The Happening, I think, are considered like. Are either considers maybe the wrong word. Probably the two of the most made fun of movies of
Right.
of the first of the 2020 O's 2000 through 2010. Those two movies are maybe the two most made fun of movies of that time period.
Now,
So
what about Old? Did you see Old?
Old with the beach that makes you old from Old, yeah. Old's good.
Really?
You just gotta be down for like a goofy fun time, and you'll like his movies these days, I think.
Yeah, I
So
guess
that's
so.
why I'm
I don't
excited
know.
for Trap. The Visit too. Visit underrated. That The Visit was him. That's the resurgence that starts with The Visit and then Split. Visit's good.
I mean, maybe I'll check them out, but I don't know. I was really knowing what I know about The Sixth Sense, but then watching it, I was very pleasantly surprised about how much I liked it and how really great this film is.
Yeah, it's so strong in so many ways beyond just the twist. And it's even just like there's so many scenes of and I think a lot of the scares, there's some jump scares in this movie even that work, but I think some of just the voices that you hear are even more effective. Beyond all that, just some of the scenes of Haley Joel Osment and Bruce Willis talking about stuff, about being like a troubled kid with thoughts.
Yeah.
It just works really well.
No, 100%. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into ratings. Unless there's anything else you want to say about the movie.
Let's do ratings. I mean,
on a scale of 0.5 to 5, on any scale you're choosing except from stars, there's one really obvious scale you could use. What would you give M. Night Shyamalan's The Sixth Sense?
I'm gonna give this movie 4.5 out of 5 Bumblebee pendants.
That's a good one. I'll take the easy one because I never do, and I usually try and make up a dumb jokey one. 4.5 senses out of 5 for me.
Nice.
The 4.5 cents out of 5.
Also, too, like if I'm sure that real movie buffs could figure out this plot right away. The movie's called The Sixth Sense, right? So right off the bat, you already know what the plot is. I feel like this shouldn't be a surprise.
Yeah, definitely not. Between all of the box office, I mean, after that, it was, depending on the region, either the second or the highest grossing home video release of all time, never mind just that year. You can see why. Like, this is the kind of movie that if you didn't catch it in theaters and you've been hearing about, it's really before easily accessible ways to watch it. Certainly before being able to watch it online or on demand at home. Yeah, you can see why this sold a lot of Blockbuster memberships.
Yeah, 100%. Like the cultural phenomenon that it was. I'm sure everybody just ran to their local video store and rented the shit out of the VHS tapes.
Yeah, for real. It's incredibly successful. Small film, small in quotes here because it's listed production budget, not counting advertisement, is 40 million. In 1999, the movie that M. Night Shyamalan just put out in 2024, its listed budget is 30 million. So it's kind of funny that this is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, that's his thing. Now he just makes really small budget, relatively small budget movies, and they always make a profit, even if they only get like divisive critical reaction. Enough people go see them.
Also, too, it's pretty ironic that this film is the top video rental title of all time, a title that can never be broken.
Really? Yeah. I mean, it would be difficult. It had, because it's not like, so it had at the time the biggest August weekend release, and then it got beaten by a Rush Hour sequel. But like that's not going to happen anymore.
Which one?
I think it's Rush Hour 2, maybe?
If it's Rush Hour 2, that's, oh my God, the best one.
I don't have it in front of me, so I'm not sure.
Rush Hour 4, I've been praying. That would be, my life would be complete. I could become a ghost after watching Rush Hour 4.
Oh my God. Just tell Chris Tucker. I'm sure he'd be thrilled for the work.
They're trying. Him and Jackie Chan, they've been trying to make this for 10 years now.
Why won't anyone let them make it?
I think Jackie Chan is just the script. They've rewritten the script like 100 times.
He's a writer. He's directed movies too, Jackie. So he has a lot of sway. He also doesn't have to make American movies and can have a lot more control and probably a lot more of a percentage of the proceeds if he just keeps making movies in China.
Fine. Make Rush Hour 4 in China. Who cares?
Again, Chris Tucker would be available for that. So
it's what America needs right now.
Yeah. Oh, and Toni Collette gets nominated for an Academy Award. We didn't really talk about her too much because I think she's not in the movie a lot, but she's good when she is. Her accent's kind of crazy, but horror icon in this. And she got nominated here and not for Hereditary, and that's insane. She's so good in Hereditary. Speaking of Toni Collette and horror, whatever.
She was very good in this. But do you think she thinks she knows her son's kind of a weirdo? She doesn't really believe him, though. But my favorite scene of her is when she's looking at the pictures on the wall and she sees the light in all the pictures. The light, that's the father. His father's obviously dead. Yeah. And he sees his father all the time. And she takes these photos, and then that's her husband or his father in these photos.
It seems to be the case, right? I mean, there's not. When you really look at the movie, it's not exactly subtle in what it's doing.
Right. But then she doesn't believe him later. Well, she does after he explains grandma and moving the pendant and whatnot, but she doesn't believe him that he sees dead people, even though I feel like she kind of should already know that because she saw the ghosts in the pictures on the wall.
She should. But it's another thing. I think reciprocally, ghosts only seeing what they want to see. She's maybe, more mortals only seeing what they want to see also.
Right. Yeah.
Because that would be too much of a brain jump. Not to get too hung up in any one particular scene, but the scene where he's telling her that after the car crash and talking about her mom. And that scene's just staggeringly good.
So good. Yeah. Great dialogue. Great little acting in that whole sequence. Yeah.
I think that's the best Haley Joel Osment is in the whole thing. And the dialogue is, he multiple times says, "I'm ready to tell you my secrets now," but it works because he's a little kid who's weird and is going through a ridiculous experience.
Right. It only works because he's a little kid, right?
Yeah. But that's sort of how Shyamalan writes for adults also for the rest of his career. So
true. So true.
Anyway, I haven't figured, this is the first episode of the month, so I haven't figured out like a question to thread all the episodes together yet. Any thoughts? 99? Did you die in Y2K? Is that the question maybe?
Yeah, did you? Yeah. No, it's a great year to pick. I love Prince. I love the song 1999. I love the album 1999. I think I don't know. A question I would have is like, I don't know. Would you want to see dead people? Like if you had a superpower and your superpower was you could see dead people, is that a superpower worth having?
It's going to be hard to relate to the other movies we do this month, but let's keep it. What would be your superpower? Let's just that it's 1999. What would be your superpower?
I would predict the future and have keep video rental stores open. I would cancel Netflix off the bat.
Yeah, maybe that's the move, or just invest in it. Although I don't think Netflix made that much money for the first couple decades it's existed, according to their returns at least. Maybe, put some money, do it full Back to the Future style, just like bet on World Series champions that are going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wouldn't be too bad of a superpower. Yeah, I guess that's one thing. If you could change something about how the world, culture, movies have gone since 1999, what would it be? Keep video stores open. Not bad.
I mean, but think about it. It's so funny though. I feel like this movie is so 90s. It's like right before the world obviously changes with 9/11 2 years later. But this film is such a 1990. It's almost like the culmination of pre-world 9/11, post-world 9/11. And then you have Sixth Sense right at that turning point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, just a few years later, that kid would have tried to Google that doctor and found his obituary.
Right. Right.
I would have been able to be like, "Hey, have you seen this?"
I mean, like it only works in 1999. This film.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. Like so many people either say it's because of this or attribute this as a reason why so many directors just make period pieces from before cell phones, but cell phones sort of like ruin all human drama.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Yeah, I get that point.
Yeah. Whether or not that's actually any one creative's reason for doing only period pieces, but I don't know. I don't know. It does make it a lot harder to have misunderstandings and misconnections if you can just text your friends.
When did Die Hard come out? The 80s, right?
88, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is 11 years later. He doesn't look that much older because he's already balding in Die Hard.
Right.
He's probably less muscular here, but you mostly don't see his arms. So he has a jacket or a long sleeve shirt or a sweatshirt on. So you don't know how built his arms are anymore in 1990.
But it's also credit to him and his acting ability of like being a macho guy, action film star, and then he makes this movie where it's a lot of nuance, and he just delivers his lines with. He's not a very excitable person in this. He's very like calm and measured.
Yeah,
I give Bruce Willis a ton of credit for this film. I think it was like a excellent. I think he did get snubbed for an Academy Award because he's very good.
he's so good. And I mean, that's the thing about McClane is that he is this like action star, but at least in the first movie, he's still like human and he is in pain and he's having a really bad day and he's annoyed a lot of the time. And he's kind of being a little petty at times too. And like Bruce Willis has the ability to like be a sort of aspirational but still everyman kind of character. And in this, he sort of has he's awkward when he's trying to do like a dad thing, like the bedtime story, but he's still a really good child psychologist. Maybe not so good. I mean, that former patient obviously was not helped and then killed him. So, but he got that plaque from someone at the beginning
in a very expensive frame.
Yeah. Ugh, good movie. Anyway,
so good. This is one of the films that I know we've asked this question in the past, but from this podcast of a film that I've never seen before and I should have by now, this film is right up there with. I forgot the last selection I said, but this is like the top two films.
Chicken Run, maybe?
For me. Yeah, I think I did say Chicken Run.
Yeah, Chicken Run's really good.
Yeah.
Because The Great Escape's really good, but hey, but so is Chicken Run. Yeah, this movie's really good. It's definitely one of the best movies we've done. So yeah, excited.
Yeah.
Excited to finally mark it off. It's a big one, and it's hard to find people who haven't seen it. So thanks for being on this episode, Anthony.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ben.
No problem. We'll catch you next time. You can find our stuff on Linktree, linktr.ee/late to the movies. And whenever this comes out, the next episode will also be 1999. I think we got a weird slate. I think Eyes Wide Shut might be next. It might be Passport to Paris. Essentially the same movie. You know, whatever.
Nice.
It's going to be good. It's either going to be Stanley Kubrick or Olsen twins. Both huge parts of film history. We'll see who we tackle first.
Love Passport to Paris.
Yeah. Let's get it. All right. Thanks, Anthony. Talk to you next time.
See ya.